And we are live. Hi, all you BC WrestlePod nerds out there. And welcome to the first ever live rendition of the Raw Squad Reviews, your weekly Monday Night Raw review team. I am one of your hosts, Mikey, also known as El Jefe around the BC WrestlePod parts. And joining me, as always, is my lovely co-host, Senor Luchadont. Hello, my friend. Welcome to the new aesthetic.
The best luchador in the Iconics, by the way.
Yeah. You know, El Butador has some strong words about you when we were doing the Forbidden
Who?
Door review.
Who?
Exactly.
That's what I thought.
Who knows? We might be having our own BC WrestlePod pay-per-view happening with all these feuds going on behind the scenes. I'm super excited. But hi, Senior Luchador. How we doing today?
We're doing all right. This is kind of Raw wasn't bad.
You know, for a go-home show, this wasn't terrible.
There was a lot of holy shit chants.
Mm-hmm.
But, everything didn't go to black for like 20 minutes like it did on SmackDown. Because Raw's just a better show.
Don't even get me started with all that, because I'm just like, But as my co-host has said, we are here to review the go-home show for Monday Night Raw. This would be Monday, July 1st, 2024. This is the go-home show before Money in the Bank happening this weekend. Again, we got a lot to talk about. This was a very, like we always say here, this is a very heavy Judgment Day, heavy-centric episode.
Most of Raws are.
Yeah, which is very, very true. But who knows how long that's going to go down, because things might be changing. But before we get into our review, a couple of housekeeping things. You can follow us all over the social medias at BC WrestlePod on the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitter, the TikTok, the Threads, pretty much everywhere. Next Level, where you can find all our social medias. We have a Patreon. We have merchandise. You can donate to the cause if you want via PayPal, all sorts of things. Like, help us fund these projects, because we want to do great things, but they cost the moolah. And then, of course, as this is the first live rendition of the Raw Squad review, I want to take a moment to go over the important notice here. Remember, we are thrilled to have you here. We loved commenting with you. We love you guys chiming in and watching as everything go down. However, we ask that you are respectful and kind in the comments. In the words of Brian Zane with Wrestling from Regret, like what you like, don't be a dick. That is all I ask. All right, so let's get into this Monday Night Raw, because there was a lot to get through. Judgment Day, when we get to Judgment Day, we're gonna talk about everything that went down with them, honestly, because there was a lot of things that happened. But Monday Night Raw this week opens up again. Can we just have Jey Uso coming out of the crowd every single time? Like, this is a thing where he's in the back of the arena, he's within the crowd, like getting merch or food or whatever, and just walks through the crowd. Like, I never get tired of this.
He's one of the few wrestlers I'm okay with opening the show every single week. So I just don't get tired of seeing him.
Seriously, if Monday Night Raw wants to make Jey Uso your big baby face for Monday Night Raw, I'm not gonna disagree. I'm not gonna get upset. I'm not gonna get mad, because I would love it. But main event, Jey Uso is walking through the crowd. He gets to the ring. He opens up Monday Night Raw, because it is Money in the Bank. For the first time in forever, we do not have all like the participants on ladders. Like, thank gosh.
Hey, the year that Kevin Owens was in it with Braun Strowman and those guys, that year was great. I just saw a clip from that. It was fantastic. He was yelling at everybody, saying that they gotta raise the briefcase for Braun Strowman because he's just too tall and it's unfair. And yeah, it was funny. It was great.
It was, but Mr. Yeet in the Bank himself promises to win Money in the Bank on Saturday. He's going to hold this briefcase, which then prompts Chad Gable to come on out. And he interrupts. First, he says that yeet is not a word, getting massive boos from everyone, and that he is a walking miracle after surviving both the Wyatt Six attack and the Alpha Academy, leaving him before qualifying for the ladder match that happened last week.
And Jay, to make him a face, or was he staying a heel? Because he be talking to the Alpha Camera like he's a face again, but he all here, being a dick still.
When we get to that segment, because I was like, once again, Chad Gable here is being a gaslighter more than I see one, but Jay calls it like it is. He says, I think you're scared of the Wyatt Six, but you should know. But Gable retorts saying, "You're the one who talked about the Fireflies and everything." And Jay reiterates, "Is like, look, man, I already gave back to them. I want no smoke with them and anything. Like, I don't want to do this." But Gable is just like, no, we're good. So they continue to go back and forth, which then the lights go down, and then Chad rolls out the ring. He's like, no, I'm getting out of here. We're good. We're fine. And then as Gable is trying to get out of there, he is haunted by many members of the Wyatt Six before he ultimately runs away. And then Nikki Cross shows up to give Michael Cole another VHS tape that says "Play Me." Do we think that the Wyatt Six or somebody, whether it be Uncle Howdy or someone, do we think Gable's going to have a match against them at like SummerSlam or something like that? Because we've got to be building to some sort of match.
Right. I just don't know. I don't know what the build is right now. I think they're just still just doing the big creepy things, which I'm okay with right now.
I love the big creepy things, and we'll talk about big creepy things when we get to later in the evening with the second VHS tape, which still is really great. But we go to commercial, and when we come back, we kick off our first match of the evening: Xavier Woods and Karrion Kross. This is the one feud on Monday Night Raw. I'm like, okay. Like everybody else is involved in something. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be honest, Senior Luchador. I forgot that this feud was still happening.
It's still not bad of a feud though. I'm very curious on where this is going to go.
I am too, because I like Karrion Kross. I like the New Day, but this is Xavier Woods versus Kofi Kingston. I mean, Xavier Woods, Kofi, and the Final Testament are out to kind of like support their supporting partners. This was a fun match. This is a fine match. It wasn't anything too crazy, but ultimately, again, I like Karrion Kross, but the most devastating move in sports wrestling entertainment, the small package roll, is what helps Xavier
Surprise
get the
roll
win.
up for the W.
Mm-hmm.
The Karrion Kross hits a weird submission on Kofi. I don't know what that was for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, this match went about.
Why is it any single time somebody fights outside of a match, there's like 19 refs to come out there, but when this shit happens, the ref just looks at the roster of the ring, keeps telling them stop for like 3 minutes, then he gets in the ring.
I don't know, man. They're like, I don't get paid enough for this. I will say that hopefully this goes to somewhere, because I'm sad to see Karrion keep losing. Like it seems that we're pushing him in the Final Testament, and then the rug gets pulled up from underneath him from time to time. But the Final Testament does destroy the New Day with Karrion giving a nasty armbar to Kofi. So who knows if Kofi is hurt? And we're gonna continue with everything that happens with this storyline, and I'm here for it. It's gonna be great. You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? It is our obligatory part of the show in which we talk about the Judgment Day, because they were all over this Monday Night Raw.
Obligatory. We're going to be talking about them the whole night.
I mean, that's very, very far. That's very, very true. I'm being generous. Like 90% of this was Judgment Day shenanigans, both in the ring and in the backstage segments. But in our first one, Damian is with Dom, and he tells him that he needs to deal with Liv Morgan like right now. And then this is where the seeds continue to get planted, because Damian asked Dom, have you talked to Rhea? And then Dom's like, oh yeah, I talked to her. We're good. And Damian's like, oh really? Because I just got off the phone with her and she's mad at you. You need to deal with Liv right now. Who is also in the background of the clubhouse with everybody still playing 2K, which is funny. And so Liv is like, hey, I got a match next. And so she leaves, which then prompts Finn to address Damian for what he said last week about, the Judgment Day needing Damian more than Damian needs the Judgment Day. Like, Finn was mad, and Finn calls Priest paranoid and like gets mad at him for not trusting him. So all Damien has to say is like, look, I'm gonna handle my business. I'm gonna beat Seth on Saturday. Like, we are good.
He said,
Man.
you've changed since you've won that belt.
Mhm.
Changed. You know, because we're watching a soap opera.
We really, really are. I am super excited. I cannot wait for the inevitability and the implosion that is the Judgment Day. So, again, we get the same video package that got played on Friday Night SmackDown on Sika. You know, passed away last week. Rest in power to him. So, from here, we get our next match, which is for the World Heavyweight Women's Championship, or the Women's title on Raw, in which Liv Morgan is defending the title against Zelina Vega. Again, I always say this every time Zelina is in the ring. She is so underutilized and she is so good. The 619, and then everything she does is just so fantastic. And then I love that Liv is using Rhea's moves too, and implementing like the mannerisms into which Rhea does things, which is super fantastic. And then Dominic Mysterio rears his ugly head into this match. He tries to have Liv use the chair. It backfires. Zelina has the chair hit Dom, but this is enough to let Liv work on the distraction and hits the Oblivion and for the win against Zelina Vega. So your winner and still Women's World Champion, Liv Morgan. This was a fantastic match. I loved it so much. And honestly, but this was fantastic. So I'm going to take this moment to briefly talk about a little bit before we continue on. But I feel like this match, what it did was it was more so about Liv and Dominic and building that relationship up and that character work more than anything. But I still thought this was a pretty good match at the end of it. I'm gonna be honest, when they announced me like, hey, we're gonna have this title match next week, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna be mad at it, but it's kind of strange that this title match kind of came out of nowhere a little bit. But it was really nice to see that Zelina got this chance. I just wish they used Zelina a little bit more because she's fantastic. And this is Liv and Dom are going to be the best things for Monday Night Raw heading forward to the pre and post Judgment Day dismantling, which I thought it was going to be good. I love also at the end of this that Liv Morgan post match dedicates her win to Dominic, which then cuts into our next video package in which that Drew McIntyre cuts his promo. He promises to win the men's Money in the Bank qualifying match tonight, that he's going to go on to win Money in the Bank on this Saturday. Okay. So there are so many factors with this, and I'm going to save it for when we get to the main event, but spoiler alert, having Drew qualify and be in the Money in the Bank ladder match, I'm excited because I think it's going to be fun. I'm interested to see, though, if he gets the briefcase or not. So then we get the first few minutes of this WrestleMania documentary that was supposed to come out, I think, a couple months ago, but now we're finally getting it and everything. I'm very interested to see what exactly this documentary holds, but hey, it's going to be interesting to say. So next, we get an in-ring promo. Seth Rollins is here. Seth freaking Rollins, I should say. And he says that he is excited to be back in the ring to fight for the World Heavyweight Championship at Money in the Bank. Seth talks about how this championship, is important. He's going to win it on Saturday. If he can't win it, he has to take another look at himself. But Seth is the best when the pressure is on, according to him. So again, this is the typical Seth Rollins promo that we've been getting from him. And I'm excited, and I'm kind of surprised to see him return this quickly. So then he gets interrupted. I'm like, okay, David's gonna come out. We're gonna handle this, but no. Finn Balor comes out to interrupt and tells Seth that he's in a bad mood because everything is changing. Seth thinks that Balor is changing, like Priest being the world's heavyweight champion, which then prompts Damian Priest to come out and interrupt, with Rollins thinking that it's a trap, that the Judgment Day are going to jump him. But Damian accuses Finn of getting in his business when he told him that he had it handled. So these two are bickering and fighting, which allows Seth to super kick both Finn and Damian, which then he sets up a stomp to Finn Balor. But Damian gets the better of them by hitting a South of Heaven on Seth, leaving him lame. And then he promptly goes over to check on Finn. Normally, when it comes to storytelling, you don't want to, you want to show, not tell. They did a little bit more telling, but I'm sorry, but Damian is losing this title at Money in the Bank. And I don't think Damian is walking out as champion. I think Seth is walking out as champion for Money in the Bank, unless some shenanigans happens. But that is going to be it for that. Again, I thought this was a fine segment. It continues to kind of prepare us for the match between Damian and Seth at Money in the Bank, while also continuing to sow the seeds of dissent for the Judgment Day. And regardless of how we get there, I still think that Damian is not walking out of Money in the Bank as the champion. Some unfortunate news next, because then we get a brief video promo package from Ludwig Kaiser. And unfortunately, he did sustain an injury in his match against Braun Breaker 2 weeks ago, that he has broken ribs. And because of Sheamus's meddling in all this, that when he's healed and when he comes back, he's going to be going for vengeance against Sheamus. So, speedy recovery to Ludwig. Broken ribs is never a fun thing for sure. And it kind of sucks because he was doing really good in the singles push. It seemed like him and Sheamus were about to go at it, or him and Braun were about to go at it. But unfortunately, he broke his ribs in the match 2 weeks ago. So here's hoping that Ludwig Kaiser has a speedy recovery, and I'm excited to see him when he's all coming back and ready. So we go to commercial break, and when we come back, Damian Priest is telling Finn that he appreciates the help, but he has it on Saturday, in which Finn, in the most least convincing fashion, tells Damian Priest that, you know what, you were right, you got it, you did this. Finn and the rest of Judgment Day, or at least Finn and Liv Morgan, are going to cost Damian this title. I am telling this right now, but things are going to go down. So from here, we get our next match, which is the final women's Money in the Bank qualifying ladder match. Here, we have Dakota Kai taking on Zoe Stark and Ivy Nile. I'm gonna be completely honest. I was rooting for Ivy. I wanted to see Ivy in this, but I was also rooting for Dakota, because Dakota hasn't really got a chance to be a single star. I thought the match was actually pretty good. As usual, you can only get as much as you can when a match is only about 10 minutes and has a long portion of that match taking place during commercial, which sucks. I think having Zoe by the end of this going into the Money in the Bank ladder match is a good way forward. And, unfortunately, with Dakota Kai taking the pin here, it does make it worse for how Damage Control is going to be heading into the future, because EO is not happy with how much Kyrie and Dakota are losing. And so this was a nice enough match, but there was so much taken up by the stupid commercial break. And it kind of sucks, because I wish that our women's matches don't do that. But Zoe Stark is moving on to Money in the Bank. And she will be joining Naomi, Tiffany Stratton, Lyra Valkyria, Io Sky, and Chelsea Green in that women's Money in the Bank ladder match. This should be a good one. I think that Zoe is in great company. And, unfortunately, I don't see Zoe winning. But when this is all said and done, it seems that her and Shayna are going to go after the tag titles. Okay. So now, let's talk about this. So now we get to the second VHS tape that was given to Michael Cole early in the evening, in which that in this video we see Bo Dallas and Uncle Howdy continue to be talking to one another. And, Bo states that how long are we going to keep doing this? Why are we doing this still and everything? And so Howdy asks Bo, Uncle Howdy asks Bo what he's thinking. And Bo says that he and the rest of the Wyatt Six were all the ones that were forgotten, and that they are clay in the hands of the potter, and now that they're a family because they all have the same circuit stamps of them being forgotten, and that the false prophets must pay for their sins. Uncle Howdy and Bo talk about being the reckoning, and that the voices begin to merge together. And then as Uncle Howdy disappears, Bo says that he's going to set them free. Then Bo disappears with Uncle Howdy popping back in to say that you are. Oh my gosh. This was getting crazy. Senior Luchador, this is the second VHS tape that we got for Monday Night Raw, and we are continuing this thing where the Wyatt Six have all been forgotten. Bo Dallas is going, they're a family now. Bo Dallas is going to lead them. When do we see them in, or at least some form of them in the ring? Do you think it's going to happen as soon as SummerSlam, or what you thinking?
I think they come in and wreck Money in the Bank.
That is a good. Honestly, I see a lot of people getting involved in the men's match, so I would not be surprised if the men's Money in the Bank ladder match is main eventing, but who knows? But yeah, I think they make their presence known and wreck house again at Money in the Bank.
I think they come in and like put everybody through a ladder, and then like Jey Uso will slowly climb the ladder and take the thing, something like that.
That actually would be cool. Like they wreck everybody else in that match except for Jay. They're just like, nah, man, you're good. We don't want you.
They let him because he's like, nah, I don't want no smoke. Y'all can have the Fireflies and all this other stuff. I didn't take nothing. Y'all can have them,
I like the direction we're going with. I just hope they don't drag this out for too long, but they're 2 for 2 with these promos from Bo. I love it. This is great. All right, so you had brought this up earlier. And so now we're going to talk about this because Chad goes backstage. Otis is eating a gorgeous amount of food. I was like, yo,
I was jealous because I'm starving.
Me too,
man,
bro.
I want this.
I was like, this food looks great. But Chad tries to talk to Otis into coming back and doing Alpha Academy. But Otis is like, bro, I'm sorry all this is happening, but you're not convincing me. And so they stay the rest of Alpha Academy. So Kira Tozawa and Maxine Dupree, they're standing by Otis in the decision to not go back with Chad. Well, Chad is looking for backup, man.
Chad was like, I need your help. He's like, hey, he goes, you hate me. He goes, I don't hate you, but we ain't gonna help you. He goes, well, I want you to remember, if something like this was to happen to you, I'll have your back because you're still my number one guy.
Mm-hmm. I was like, are we sure?
Boy out here almost being as good as the gaslighter as Roman Reigns.
Seriously, like those two have been the prime example in most recent history of being the ultimate gaslighters. It's kind of intense. All right, so let's talk about this next match because for the third time in history, we have Rey Mysterio taking on Dominic Mysterio, and Rey is 3-0 because he beats his son in this match too. But let's be honest, the real moment is when we had the not so PG moment with Dom on top, which is a weird thing to say. When he fell onto Liv.
Why Liv grab him like that?
That was so, I was like, oh my gosh, we're not in the PG territory no more. I was like, oh my gosh. This, let's be honest, this match, what it was. Like, Liv was out there, Rey wins, but then Zelina evens the odds, and then this moment happens. I'm just like, Though this was still a fun match. I was like, anytime Rey and Dominic get in the ring, it's gonna be a good match. I'm hoping that when Rey's ready to retire, I want a mask versus hair match. Like, that's what I want to see.
That's how Rey wants to retire. It's mask versus, he wants to do mask versus hair between Dominic and Santos.
Ugh, that would be so good. And have it be a PLE in Mexico. He wants to retire at a PLE in Mexico, which would be really, really great. So, again, this match, it was what it was. This was a lot of fun. Ray once again beats up his son, and the deadbeat dad moves on and he goes on. So we get a quick promo from Sheamus. He's ready to hit hard, and you know, whew, excuse me, these allergies, man. I swear. I forgot that Sheamus won Money in the Bank before because he's right. He says in this promo he's ready to become a 2-time Money in the Bank winner. I'm like, ah, just kidding. All right, so now we come to back from commercial and we get this promo off between Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker. I'm gonna be honest, this was probably my favorite promo of the whole entire night because again, this match going into Money in the Bank, I am still 50-50 on, even though we did our predictions earlier in the week. Because Braun is of the mindset that I'm dangerous, I will break you, I will hurt you, I need you to understand that. And the Sammy is in the camp of, you don't think I know that? I've been beaten up by guys like you. Hell, I've been dealing with the bloodline and Roman Reigns for the last year and a half or so. So I know what's at stake here and I know what I'm dealing with, which then prompts Sammy getting speared in the ring. Braun goes to leave, goes back to try to do it again. But fails and lands into the steps. But Sammy gets laid out again. Braun holds the title as the segment ends. Senior Luchador, on a scale of 1 to, oh my gosh, how excited are you for this Intercontinental Championship at Money in the Bank?
I'm excited to see Braun Breaker win.
So, see, again, I'm 50-50 on this. I can make an argument as to why Braun should win, but I don't know if Sammy's done with his current title reign. But regardless, I'm excited for this match, and I'm actually really proud and happy to see Braun be in this position so quickly since coming to main roster. This kid is ready, and I'm excited to see where we go with this. I'm hoping there's like 2 Frankensteiners in the match. Like, it's going to be so fantastic. I think this is going to be great. Io Sky is not happy with Dakota Kai losing her Money in the Bank qualifying match. And so Damage Control continues to, come undone. The girls are fighting. And then there was an actual girl fight because Lyra Valkyria comes in to interrupt and make things work. And then it becomes a quick 3-on-3 match with Damage Control getting jumped by Lyra Valkyria and Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. So they're like, brawl, brawl, brawl.
Just start fighting out of nowhere. It was like, nah, you just guys just suck. And the next thing you know, everybody was just fighting.
I'm wondering if after Money in the Bank, this is the direction we're going to go. At least we have Kaden and Katana versus Damage Control. But I'm wondering if Lyra is going to become a third, and this is going to be like a 3-on-3 faction feud for a little bit. Because Zoe and Shayna still are number 1 contenders. So they're going to be coming out against, our Hex girls of Alba Fire and Isla Dawn at some point, which is great. We get a recap of what happened on Friday Night SmackDown with the Bloodline turning on and destroying Paul Heyman, in which he bounced off the table and then bounced on the floor. Senior Luchador, I know SmackDown is not your cup of tea, but we all can agree that was cinema.
Acknowledge the new tribal chief, Solo Sikoa.
It was crazy. We get a rundown of everything that is happening in Money in the Bank. Quickly, we get a thing from Ilya Dragunov that he's ready to qualify. I looked at my clock and we had like 25 minutes left on this match. I was like, there is no way. But sure enough, we get into our main event of the evening. This is the final men's Money in the Bank qualifying match, which sees Ilya Dragunov versus Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre. First and foremost, Senior Luchador. This was a 20-minute match. Like, we took this all the way to the end. I was like, can we just get bangers like for 20 minutes? Like, this is what happens when you get matches.
Can we do this every week? Give me a banger match to end the fucking show. And it worked. These dudes beat the fuck out of each other.
All these dudes beat the tar, living piss out of each other. It was intense. Ilya Dragunov dropping like H4 bombs on people. Sheamus is grabbing Drew McIntyre and beating the ever-dealing daylight out of his chest.
Dude, that Moscow torpedo he hit when he went for the when Drew was going for the Claymore and he just hit that thing out of nowhere. That was spectacular.
Obviously, if it wasn't evident now, this was my favorite match of the whole entire night.
It was one of the best matches of Raw's had all year.
Honestly, this match and then Ilya versus Braun, I was like, this is going on my list somewhere, and I have to revisit this to see if it ends up in the
Match was
top 5.
so good.
Oh my gosh, they killed.
Drew won. I expect Drew to win.
Honestly, I was surprised that Drew won. Drew ends up hitting the Claymore on Sheamus, and Drew punches his ticket to Money in the Bank.
So
After
we're
the
gonna have
match,
Logan Paul's gonna come out and screw over LA Knight. The Y6 is gonna come out and screw over Chad Gable. And
Chad
CM
Gable.
Punk's gonna come out and screw over Drew McIntyre.
We might have LWO come out and mess with Andrade. I don't see Baron Corbin in a Paul. So really, it just leaves down to Carmelo Hayes and Jey Uso. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't
Randy
see
Orton's gonna
Carmelo.
come out and screw over Carmelo Hayes because he's the one that pinned him.
Seriously, but everybody, yeah, this has the potential to be the most overbooked mess, and I'm kind of here for it. But Drew cuts this promo. He promises that he's going to win the briefcase, and then he makes sure to show off CM Punk's stolen bracelet to end Monday Night Raw this week. That is how we go off the
He was
air.
posting. Drew was posting pictures of him and his wife on social media, and he was still wearing the bracelet. The fucking menace.
Oh my gosh, Drew McIntyre is a menace, and I love him for it. But Senior Luchador, that is how Monday Night Raw goes off the air this week. Again, a pretty decent money, go home show for Money in the Bank. Nothing too bad. So let's give our final ratings. I give this like a solid 7 out of 10 empanadas for me. Again, I thought a lot of stuff got ready for us to be primed for Money in the Bank. The main event was a banger. I'm excited to see where we go with the Wyatt 6 and all this. Is going to be fantastic. But this was just a pretty typical average, episode of Raw, but I'm still excited. And again, give me 20-minute bangers every single week and I will be happy.
I agree. I agree. 7 empanadas.
Yeah, this is a pretty decent show for Monday Night Raw. So, Senor Luchador, I am excited for Money in the Bank. I don't know what's going to happen this Saturday, but I am super excited to see where we go with all of this. But thank you so much for tuning into another live rendition. Well, the first live rendition and many more live renditions of the Raw Squad reviews. We will be back next week to review another episode of Monday Night Raw. But until next time, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and until next episode, adios, sayonara, and see you later. But until then, ta-ta for now.